In this video, we're going to revisit and review most of the concepts that we've learned since the patch creation videos. We'll revisit creating patches with splits and layers, setting up aux tracks, buses, and effects. We'll also move on to assigning and mapping as well. So I'm going to start off almost from scratch here. I'm going to go to this keyboard minimalist layout. I'm going to go over to the layout menu here, and then I'm going to import my previous layout. Alright, so I've got my layout set up, and now I'm going to go back to the edit window. I'm going to delete this patch here. And I'm going to delete all aux channels that were created in this template. So I'm going to delete this aux3 right here. And I'm going to set up my own aux channel that I'm going to use for reverb. So I'm going to click on this plus icon, and then I'm going to select auxiliary. I'm going to keep it at stereo. The bus is going to be 1 and the output to 1 and 2. Now, rather than go in here and choose a reverb from the audio effects, I'm actually going to choose a preset. So I'm going to go up to setting, then I'm going to go down to reverb, medium spaces, halls, and then medium hall. So along with Space Designer, it also populated a chorus, which is bypassed, and a channel EQ. I'm going to leave those as they are right now. So now I'm going to go down and start creating my patches. I'm going to create a set by clicking on this gearbox here, and then I'm going to select New Set, and I'm going to call this Set 1. I'm going to click on the plus icon, and then I'm going to choose one of Apple's instruments. I'm going to go down to Instrument, and I'm going to choose Piano, and then Steinway Grand Piano. With this preset, it also populated EQ, compressor, and delay. I'm going to turn off this bus here, and then I'm going to move over to this bus, and choose bus 1, which is the medium hall reverb that I chose on my concert level. I think I'm going to add a string patch to this piano patch. So I'm going to go to this plus icon here, choose Instrument, and keep everything the same, and then click Create. Then I'm going to go over to Instrument, and I'm going to choose a third-party plugin. I'm going to go back and choose vStation, and I'm also going to set up the bus path here as well. Now I'm going to dial in a little bit of that send. Now to open up the plugin, I'm going to click on the middle here, and then I'm going to scroll through and find my pad. The piano patch has an icon, and I'm going to set an icon for the second channel strip. So I'm going to go on over to Attributes. I'm also going to change this color here, and I'm going to change the icon as well. So the last thing I'm going to do is rename this. So I'm going to tap on this, and then just rename my song. So I want to do a couple other things to this patch. I want to assign these faders to physical faders on my keyboard. I'm going to go over to the Assignments and Mappings tab. Then I'm going to move the fader on my keyboard, and there it is, and I'm going to select that one. Then I'm going to select Assign and Map at the top, and then I'm going to move the fader on the screen with my mouse. With the Assign and Map still selected, I'm going to go down to the next fader, and I'm going to select my second channel strip here and move that. And then I'm going to deselect Assign and Map. So now if I move the faders on my keyboard, you can see that they respond accordingly. Well, maybe there's one part in this song where I don't want the string patch in the background, and I just want to use the piano. So I'd either want to solo the piano or mute the string patch. So let's do solo the piano. Let's say I wanted to use this button for this action. Well, it looks like it's already assigned on the concert level. It says Untitled Concert, Actions, and Next Set. And my only option here is to override concert mapping. So I can do that. I can override the concert mapping. Then I can go on over to Unmapped, Map Parameter, and then I can choose Solo on the piano. Alternatively, I could undo that, so now we're back at Untitled Concert, Actions, and Next Set. I could go over to my concert. I could find that. And then I can delete it from here, just by hitting the Delete key. Now I can go back to my patch level and reassign it. So let's go back to the patch, and you can see I have an area for text or lyrics. So if I want to put lyrics in there, or any kind of text like chord changes, click on that area, and then you can write in this area here. Let's say that the next song in my set also requires a piano patch, but I have to use an acoustic bass sound in the left hand. So I'm going to go back over to this plus icon, and I'm going to select Piano and Steinway Grand Piano. So I could do that, but that actually created an entire new instance of that piano. So let's do something else. Since I'm going to use a piano in this song, I'm going to delete this patch. I'm going to go back to my patch. Then I'm going to go up to Edit. I'm going to do Copy. And then I'm going to do paste as alias. So now I've created a duplicate of that patch. And if you look here, these green arrows mean I'm using the alias from the previous patch. Now, I don't need this string sound on my second song, so I'm going to select this and then delete it. I'm going to rename this song 2, and then I'm going to create a second layer by clicking on the plus icon, instrument, and keep everything as it is, and then select create. Now I'm going to select my acoustic bass sound, so I'm going to go over to bass, upright studio bass, and again, we have 2 layers, so anything I played on the keyboard now would trigger both the piano sound and the bass sound. So looking at the layers, it looks like the Steinway grand piano is on the bottom and the bass is on the top. So I'm going to go over here and move my grand piano this way. And then I'm going to select my studio bass sound and drag that over here to create this split point. And then I'm also going to give the bass sound a floating range. I'm going to go back over here, dial in bus 1, and then select bus 1 for this layer as well. Since I aliased the piano patch, it carried over the level assignment as well, but it didn't carry over anything for the bass assignment because we didn't have a bass in the previous patch, so I'm going to assign that right now. The next song in my concert is just a B3 sound, so I'm going to select a B3 sound, and I'm going to choose Classic Rock Organ. I don't have any of Apple's smart controls on my screen, so I can't really see the drawbar registrations at all. But I do have these 9 faders, and I want to be able to manipulate my drawbars with those faders. So I'm going to click on Vintage B3. I'm going to go to the Assignments and Mappings tab, and then I'm going to select my faders, Assign and Map, and then start moving the drawbars. And I'm going to do this for each fader. Alright, so check this out. Now if I move the faders on my controller, it'll control the drawbar registrations as well. I also have 2 ways of activating the Leslie with the modulation wheel. I can go over to Rotary Cabinet, and then I can select Speed Control, Mod Wheel, and then my mod wheel will spin up the Leslie and slow it down. I can also do that in the Assignments and Mappings tab as well. If I find my modulation in the Assignments and Mappings tab, I can do the same thing. I can select Assign and Map, go back to my plugin, and then select the half moon switch. I want to set up my tap tempo now, so I'm going to choose a button on my keyboard to do that, and I'm going to use that one. And then I'm going to go down to Actions, and now I can choose tap tempo. I also want to be able to turn the metronome on and off. So I'm going to choose another button on my MIDI controller, and I'm going to use this one here, Assign and Map, Metronome. And this will turn my click track on and off. Let's set the tempo for each click track. So I'm going to start on the set level, and I'm going to choose Has Time Signature, and I'm going to choose 135 beats per minute. And now every song in this set has a tempo of 135 beats per minute. I'm going to change this one over, and this one is going to be at 95 in 3/4, and this one is going to be 5/4. So my first song is at 135 beats per minute. The next one is at 95 beats per minute. And the one after that is back to 135. So that wraps up this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.